The $50,000 net worth milestone. Nobody talks about. Have you ever looked at your bank account, your investment accounts, maybe your retirement account, added everything up and thought, wait, I've been working for years. Why does it still feel like I'm not getting ahead? Maybe you've managed to save a few $1,000s. Maybe you've finally paid off some debt. Maybe you've even started investing. But despite doing all the right things, you still don't feel wealthy. You still worry about money. You still hesitate before making purchases. You still feel like financial freedom is somewhere far off in the distance. And here's the frustrating part. Most financial advice focuses on two extremes. People talk about saving your first $1,000, or they talk about becoming a millionaire. But almost nobody talks about the milestone sitting right in the middle, the milestone that quietly changes everything, the $50,000 net worth milestone. And today I'm going to explain why this number is so important, why most people completely overlook it, and why reaching this point often matters far more than people realize. Because here's what most people don't realize. The journey to your first $50,000 is completely different from every stage that comes after it. My name is Adam, and I spend way too much time thinking about net worth, wealth building, and the psychology behind financial success. If you're someone who feels like you're working hard, but still struggling to build meaningful wealth, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Now let's talk about something that almost nobody discusses. The strange power of a $50,000 net worth. Why $50,000 feels so underwhelming? Look, if someone told you when you were 18 years old that one day you'd have a net worth of $50,000, you'd probably think that's a lot of money. But then life happens. You start paying rent. You buy groceries. You pay insurance. You get hit with unexpected expenses. And suddenly $50,000 doesn't seem very impressive anymore, especially when social media constantly shows you people buying luxury cars, taking exotic vacations, and talking about their seven-figure investment portfolios. So people hit $50,000 and think, that's it? And that's exactly why this milestone gets overlooked. Because emotionally, it doesn't feel life-changing. But mathematically, it's one of the most important milestones you'll ever reach. The wealth-building mountain. Here's the thing. Building wealth is a lot like pushing a giant boulder uphill. In the beginning, every single step feels exhausting. You're relying entirely on your own effort. Your income creates your savings. Your savings create your investments. Your investments are still too small to make much difference. Everything depends on you. Let's say you have $5,000 invested. Even if the market returns 10% in a year, that's only $500. Nice, but not life-changing. Now let's say you have $10,000 invested. At 10%, that's $1,000 annually. Better? Still not exciting. At $20,000, that's $2,000. At $30,000, that's $3,000. At $40,000, that's $4,000. But now something interesting starts happening. When you reach roughly $50,000 in net worth, you've accumulated enough financial momentum that compound growth finally starts becoming visible. And that's where people begin to experience something powerful. For the first time, their money starts helping them. The psychology. Nobody talks about. Most people think wealth building is a math problem. It's not. It's a psychology problem disguised as a math problem. Because if wealth building were only math, everyone would be wealthy. We all know the basic formula. Spend less than you earn. Invest consistently. Avoid bad debt. Stay patient. Simple, but not easy. The reason isn't knowledge, it's human psychology. Studies repeatedly show that people struggle with delayed gratification. We naturally prefer rewards today rather than rewards years from now. That's why buying a new phone feels exciting. Investing that same money feels boring. That's why ordering takeout feels good. Saving money doesn't. That's why people stay trapped financially. The rewards of spending are immediate. The rewards of investing are delayed. And humans are terrible at valuing delayed rewards. Why most people never reach $50,000. Here's a statistic that should get your attention. Many surveys consistently show that a large percentage of Americans cannot comfortably handle a major unexpected expense without financial stress. Think about that for a second. Millions of people are operating with almost no financial margin for error. One emergency, one job loss, one medical bill, and everything becomes stressful. Now imagine trying to build wealth under those conditions. It's incredibly difficult, which is why reaching a $50,000 net worth means you've already done something many people never accomplish. You've proven that you can consistently manage money over time, and that's actually more important than the dollar amount itself. The hidden superpower of $50,000. Now you might be thinking, Adam, $50,000 isn't enough to retire. You're right, it's not, but that's not the point. The point is what $50,000 represents. It represents habits, consistency, discipline, patience, and those are the exact skills required to eventually reach $100,000, $250,000, $500,000, and beyond. Think of it like climbing a mountain. The hardest part isn't reaching the middle. The hardest part is proving you can climb at all. Once you've reached the halfway point, you know the process works. You know your strategy works. You know you're capable, and confidence matters more than people realize. The compounding shift. This is where it gets really interesting. Let's compare two people. Person A has a net worth of $5,000. Person B has a net worth of $50,000. Assume both receive a 10% annual return. Person A earns roughly $500. Person B earns roughly $5,000. Notice something? Person B's investments are now creating meaningful money. Not enough to live on, but enough to notice, enough to feel, enough to create motivation. And motivation matters, because wealth building becomes easier when you start seeing evidence that it's working. The first few years often feel invisible. You save, you invest, you wait. Nothing seems to happen. Then suddenly your portfolio starts growing faster, and faster, and faster. Not because you're working harder, but because your money is finally joining the team. The story of two investors. Let me give you an example. Imagine two friends, Jake and Sarah. Both start investing at age 25. Jake constantly changes strategies. He jumps between stocks. He follows trends. He chases quick wins. Sarah keeps things boring. She invests consistently, month after month, year after year. No excitement, no drama, no shortcuts. After several years, Jake has lots of stories. Sarah has $50,000. And here's the funny thing. Most people would think Jake is the more sophisticated investor, but Sarah is the one actually building wealth. Because successful investing isn't about being clever. It's about being consistent. And the $50,000 milestone is often where consistency begins paying visible rewards. The dangerous mistake people make at $50,000. Ironically, this milestone creates a new problem. People get impatient. They finally see progress, and they want more, faster. So they start taking unnecessary risks. They chase speculative investments. They try to double their money quickly. They abandon the strategy that got them there in the first place. And that's often where people go backwards. Because wealth isn't built through occasional brilliance. It's built through repeated good decisions. Over and over. For years. Sometimes decades. And that's exactly what we'll talk about next. Because in part 2, we're going to cover the surprising math that makes $50,000 far more powerful than most people think. The exact reason wealth starts accelerating after this milestone, and the practical steps you can take today to reach your first $50,000 net worth faster than you thought possible.